Today, I want to talk about failure and our aversion to it, because I think this is a major problem with keeping us from becoming successful. Too often, we view failure on the opposite spectrum as success. In other words, we'll look at failure as going that direction and success as going that direction. So failure and success. And if we can avoid failure, push it away, then we can become successful. But the reality is that, and you can see this by watching any baby trying to walk, that it gets up, the baby will get up, it'll walk for a little bit maybe as it's holding on to a chair or a sofa, and then it falls. And it gets up and tries again and falls. So there's these series of failures that actually enable the baby to learn to walk. And that's the way it is in everything in life. So failure actually feeds into success. You have to have the failure in order to get the success. Or at least you have to allow for the failure to happen. And too often we're so busy trying to avoid the failure. We have this aversion to failure. We want to protect everything from that failure, that it prevents us from ever getting to success. So, a lot of this has to do with the feeling of failure, or the fear of failure, or the aversion of failure, all of which are feelings. It's not necessarily the failure itself that's the issue. It's the way we feel about it, our projection of how we would feel if we fail. Now, if we can allow ourselves to fail, if we can give ourselves permission to fail, then that enables us to have success. I was watching an interview with, I can't remember his name, but he was the founder and CEO of Kinko's, that he sold back in the 90s for somewhere over $1 billion. And ended up becoming FedEx Office, which is what people know it as today. But back in the day, it was called Kinko's. And one of the things that he noticed is that as the business grew and grew and grew, he had a hard time with having people become more feel like they were allowed to take risks. Because as his company grew, then he saw layers of other management get involved, and then there became this risk aversion. It was this we don't want to fail mentality that prevented them from actually growing the business even better. And so this is even a problem that affects corporations, large companies. You get people that are afraid of failure, afraid to take risk, and it actually keeps the company from continuing to grow and thrive. But this affects all aspects of life, right? It doesn't have to just be business. It can be socially. It can be in just being an adventurer, being afraid to take chances, to see new things, to experience new experiences. So, what can we do to actually alleviate this fear of failure? Well, one thing we can do is just to start saying yes to failure. So, pick an area where you feel like you may be afraid of failure. And then ask yourself, can I say yes to failing in this area? Can I allow myself to fail? Could I just say yes in this moment to the possibility of failing? And could I allow myself to fail? If I knew everything would be okay, if I knew that I were going to succeed at some point because of that failure, could I allow myself to fail? Remember, it's in the failure that we gain the most learnings. So, can I let myself fail to learn what I need to learn in order to be successful? And that's all I have for you today.